You are live.
Hi, good evening, everyone. International Internship University, or IIU, is the world's first internship based virtual university, building a better and brighter future for all young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill based, and location independent education to learners across the world. IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses and internships to their e-learners across the globe with a team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been credited and affiliated with the World Education Organization, WEO, and the International Accreditation Organization, IAO, and collaborated with all the world's top universities and educational institutions through the platform of the Massive Open Online Course, or MOOC. IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There is always that one person who has the vision, the thought, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. And if we talk about the man behind the success of IIU, is none other than our beloved co-founder of IIU, Mr. Piyush Pandit. He concocted the world's first virtual internship university during a pandemic, the International Internship University, the IIU. Once again, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all our viewers. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Bennet, Atencia, a licensed professional teacher from the Philippines. I've been teaching for the past 6 years in private institutions and university here in our country. And right now, I'm here to share one of the topics that I fell in love as we face the pandemic years, 3 years right now. And what I'm trying to share with you right now is this topic entitled Podcasting 101. And allow me to share my screen for my presentation. All right. So once again, my presentation for this day is podcasting in the new normal, made by yours truly, Brian Bennet, Atencia, licensed professional teacher. So before we start off our in-depth discussion, let us know first what is podcasting. Roy and Roy offered a great explanation. This is way back in 2007 from page 481 of their research. Podcasting is a process in which digital audio recordings are broadcast over the internet to users who have signed up to receive them. Like a traditional radio, only it is a cognitive medium and is available on demand for a specific topic. This is one of the greatest invention that we can share to our young learners this 21st century. And like what I've mentioned, it is as comfortable as our old radio, where we can listen to different topics that would help our students build themselves, their hobbies. So now let's talk about the history of podcasting. So the original concept was developed by the former MTV VJ Adam Curry with the help of his good friend, namely Dave Winner. Okay, together they have decided to use a customer request. It is known before as audio blogging, where it features and discuss concepts about anything under the sun. But the word podcasting has been proposed by Tristan Lewis And you might ask, who is Tristan Lewis? Tristan Lewis is the president and CEO of Casebook PBC, a platform for government human services agency. So mainly, these three wonderful men have a good background, and that background helped each one of them to start off this wonderful activity which we use now in teaching. Adam Curry then worked with the creator of RSS. RSS, or Really Simple Syndication, which enables internet text feeds to forward as audio files using that format rather than text. Because it will be difficult if while you are listening, you are seeing text. Okay, for others, that will be difficult. But nowadays, with the help of the technology, most of us are practicing that multitasking skill. But way back their time, in the mid 80s to early 90s, that is the easiest way to transfer information by the use of the really simple syndication, or the RSS. So during 2004, podcasting started its rapid growth because Curry was an MTV VJ. He was able to share it. And lots of people who are watching MTV learn that there is a new way in sharing our thoughts and our ideas. More than 17 million podcasts have been downloaded starting that year up until 2006. To be exact, in the month of November 2006, a 7 million increase from 10 million, okay, downloaded in April 2006. So it started 10 million in April of 2006, and then on November 2006, there were more than 17 million podcasts with different topics in it. So growth has been so rapid that the new Oxford American Dictionary identified podcasting as 2005 word of the year. And this is according to Madden in 2006. So now, the big question is, why podcasts? Why would I like to share it with all the viewers? First off, podcast makes content available to a multitude of learners based upon the learner's scheduling needs. Not all of the time we can allow our students to watch, but most of the time we are teaching them through audio. Discussion requires listening. Doing activities require listening. So why not try podcasts, right? Next up, users can simply use their computers to access the content if they do not wish to purchase any device. Nowadays, we do have our laptops, Macs, and even iPads, okay, or tablets. And even in our mobile phones, we can access podcasts for free. But there were few challenges during the year of 2007 because during that time, MP3 and the iPods, okay, the one where you could only listen music, has been sold in a very specific number, okay? And not everyone has the opportunity to buy those devices. So during 2007, few people are familiar when it comes to accessing it through their device. And that is according to apple.com during their research, okay? In the sense of how podcast is being popular together with their device. Now, each and everyone might be curious how to do podcasts. Later on, I'll show to you a quick glimpse on how I do podcasting using one of the easiest way through a website. Okay. So some institutions use commercial podcasting programs and services. Like the examples that I have here, you could create your own podcast through anchor.fm, buzzsprout.com, podbean.com. However, individual users can create their own podcast. It's up to you whether you will create an educational podcast, an entertainment podcast, anything under the sun can be done through podcasting. So like I mentioned, these three links creates or help the users of podcasts to execute the idea that they want. Now, let's go about the implications for education of podcasting because that's one of our target for tonight. How can we use podcasting when it comes to teaching? So in 2004, the Duke University distributed 20 gigabyte iPods to its first year students. So during that time, iPods are in. Students who have it are hip, but there is also an educational purpose. 15 fall courses and 33 spring courses integrated iPod into 5 categories. And the following includes course content dissemination, classroom recording, field recording, study support, and file storage and transfer. The four of them podcast worked in. Course content dissemination, classroom recording, field recording, and study support. Apparently, the last one, file storage and transfer, the sole purpose of that worked with iPod. But our main goal here is to know where did the podcast work there, Teacher Bryant? The first four activities. Okay? So let's see what are the benefits that it gave the experience of the student of Duke University when they use the iPad and podcast is incorporated in it. So first bullet, it says convenience for the faculty and the students through the availability of portable digital content. During the year of 2000 and up until now, each and every one of us enjoy the use of technology in any aspect of life, most especially in education. So it is a convenience to both the teacher and the student where they can simply use their iPad, listen to what they've just attended for the students, listen to what they're about to teach for the teacher. Next up, it reduced dependence on physical materials. It's like what I mentioned when 2000 or year 2000 kicked in, everyone wanted to be convenient with their materials, with their attire, in any aspect. That is why when podcasts work in the iPad, it is more convenient for the students. They don't bring too much books. They only have a small bag, or sometimes they don't have because they have the iPad. And the podcast is already in there wherein the lessons are being discussed. And then the third bullet, effective, easy to use tool for digital recording of interview, field notes, small group discussions, and self-recording of oral assignments. Best way to present. It is a creative way than the conventional reporting. They can do different methods like interview, a group discussion, anything. it'll work with podcasts. Also, greater student engagement and interest in class discussions, lab, field research, and independent project. Since they can be more creative than the traditional way of reporting, students become more engaged in podcasting. And lastly, enhance support for individual learning preferences and needs. Because you can listen at your own comfort anywhere you want. Learning has been much more easier with the help of podcasts as for the experience of the students of Duke University. But then, let's also check some of the institutional impacts when they have used podcasting. So there was an increased collaboration among the campus technology support group simply because the lessons will be distributed to the students. So the campus technology needs to work in with every school or different courses. Outside and vendor interest, of course. The iPad is only 20 gigabytes. So the student might decide to buy other models of the iPod during that time. And of course, they need to download or they need to ask the student to put in the podcast, or they can simply do it on their own. So it's benefiting for the outside vendors as well. Collaborations with other universities. It's not only Duke University who started it. So Duke University was a great influence for other universities in the United States to maximize the use of podcasting. And also it serves as a catalyst for conversations about technology in education. 2000 is considered as the great leap in technology. And thanks to podcasts, they have moved other than the technologies that is being offered during that time. Again, one big question to us, dear teachers. Why podcasts? It reinforces content provided in traditional lecture. Kids nowadays prefer to incorporate technology. But still, we should not let them forget traditional way of teaching. So let's try and combine it with podcasting. It stimulates the auditory learner as well as the visual learner. That is one of the target. And also me doing podcasts, that's one of my goals. I want the student to maximize their auditory skill. Because nowadays, if they see it, they'll just pass it. They'll just submit that activity without even listening if it's the right grammar, if it's the right sentence. Wherein in podcasts, everything will work. It also makes learning more accessible and is very useful adjunct for distance learning. We've maximized distance learning already because of the pandemic that happened. So it greatly trained us and it helped us, just like what I'm doing right now. Without technology, I wouldn't be able to share my learnings about this. So podcasts can also be a way for us to share our ideas to the students around the globe. And lastly, it helps students use dead time. Dead time we're in, they're not doing anything. They're traveling, they're riding the bus, their car, their bicycle. They can listen, okay? They can listen to a more educational ideas. Nowadays, students have prefer music. But wouldn't it be great if they will listen to educational podcasts, informative podcasts where it would stimulate their mind. And stimulation of the mind definitely creates a better future. So now, allow me to share to you the actual link that I was mentioning a while ago, anchor.fm, so that you can see a glimpse of the podcast that I made. Okay, so this is anchor.fm dashboard. Okay, as you might see, it is powered by Spotify already. So most of my podcasts and those who are using anchor.fm, their podcast episodes are automatically uploaded to Spotify. So Spotify is a well-known audio streaming website. So everyone has the opportunity to listen to wonderful podcasts, not just music. Okay? So right now, I'm on the dashboard, okay, of Anchor, and you could see here dashboard, episodes, and money. To tell you what, dear viewers, you could also earn in doing podcasts. So in the dashboard or the main interface, okay, you would see there what podcast? Your podcast. Mine is entitled Inspiring Educators. Okay? Educators because there is the concept way back when I was thinking of a title, electronic. 21st century is always associated to electronic devices. That is why I decided it to be entitled as Inspiring Educators. And also, I added some few informations about it. So let's be inspired with fellow educators around the world, listen to their journey in the educational world, and be inspired by their passion in teaching. So as you might see, my podcast and its episodes are available already in 6 platforms. Besides Anchor, you could check it out through Spotify, through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher. So you're just using one application, but your episode can be heard in different platforms. And also in the main dashboard, okay, it's just loading up. You could see there how many times your episodes have been listened or played, the estimated audience, your unique listeners, and your earning. And also, it can be shared to different social media apps like Facebook, Twitter, and your personal websites. Okay? Or you can share it in your group chats. And this is the copy embed button where you can put it into your websites if you have your own websites. And you would also see here your performance, the top episodes that were listened, and your listeners. As you might see here, United States have, or most people in the United States have listened to my episodes. There's my wonderful kababayans in the Philippines, people of Nigeria, Pakistan, Armenia, Panama, Malaysia, and other countries wherein I'm really grateful that they have appreciated this effort that I'm doing. And also you can see here the listening platform where your podcast is being listened most of the time. Also the devices, whether it's being listened in the web, iPhone, Android, Windows, and others. Also the gender. As you might see, female really enjoyed listening to podcasts. Okay, it's 46% compared to males, 37%. Others who didn't specify 16%, and there is 1%, okay, of non-binary. I'm quite curious. What is this 1%? But anyway, there is also the age group. Okay, so greatly people from the range of 18 to 22 years old enjoyed listening to my podcast. Okay, so young adults. Now, let's go to the next tab where you will see the episodes of my podcast. Okay, so I've been doing my podcast for 4 seasons already. And my most recent interview is with one of the founding members of IIU, teacher Karina. Let's look onto this episode. This is episode 10 of season 4. So don't you worry. This is quite too long. It's 34 minutes, but I'll just have you a glimpse. Okay? So this is how it looks if you make your own podcast. So you can create your own cover. Definitely you can put your own description. Okay? The share button. So Teacher Karina's episode have been played for 20 times. Okay? And it shows here how great her episode is moving. So she's almost there to the second episode of Sir Joel from Panama. And also there, almost there, okay, with the very first episode of my podcast where I interviewed a fellow Filipino teacher and a teacher from Mexico. And you could also add, so this is one of the ways where you can earn by adding ads. The actual episode, and there's also the preview, okay, of the episode itself. So as you might see, and as I'm discussing a while ago, I've also used this in teaching. So there are few episodes in here wherein it was entitled CTE Talk. So together with one of the university students where I'm working, okay, the president of the student council of the College of Teacher Education of the Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños, Philippines. His name is Romel Leron. Okay, he's my student. He used this platform to interview fellow students with different day-to-day topics. And he decided to do that, to get in touch with the fellow student. And as the student council president, he wanted to know their opinions, their stories, where it boosted his morale, not just as a student, but as a citizen of our country. So actually, Romel had 6 episodes of the CTE Talk. And his most recent episode, okay, so it discussed about the student's point of view of possible face-to-face classes, because here in the Philippines, we're still in the pilot testing, okay? Not all the schools are experiencing the face-to-face classes. So he decided to interview few fellow students in our university. And it's not only Romel, because his fellow officers, okay, his secretary and his other officers in the organization have tried it. So that's one way that I have mentioned a while ago, that our students can benefit from this. Not just university students, even students in high school, okay, and in elementary, of course, with our guidance. And also, like I mentioned, you could earn money by putting ads, okay? So this is the tab where you can earn it, okay? Apparently, you can see it's not a big amount, but this is the combined effort of all the podcasts that I made. And up until now, it is still in here because to all the viewers, earning is not my goal in here, but to share the wonderful stories of the teacher, to inspire all the teachers from around the globe. That's one of my key targets. So let me just stop sharing and make sure that the audio is also shared so that at least you could listen to one of the episodes. And I'll be using teacher Karina Sudea's episode. Okay, let me just share this now. Here we go.
Numerous international and national projects in which I
Another inspiring educator. So let's get started, teacher, with my first question. Me and my
okay,
listeners would like to know more about teacher Karina. So, teacher, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
of course. So my name is Corina Shujda and I live in Romania. Romania is a small country in Europe. I'm a teacher for 25 plus years. I'm a very friendly and diligently and professionally discharge jobs assignments. Of course, in my career, I become a well-known teacher on all the continents, and this happened just because of my involvement in numerous international educational projects, scientific, social, artistic, voluntariat, and so on. Um, what can I say more about me? It's that in 25 years old of career, I initiated and participated in numerous international and national projects.
Okay, so that's just a preview or a teaser of teacher Karina's episode. So, if you would love to listen, you simply check my podcast, okay, through Spotify, or just go to anchor.fm, search for inspiring educators, and you could listen to lots of episodes. I've interviewed different teachers. Teacher Karina from Romania. I've interviewed teacher from this one, teacher Ebenezer, okay, from Ghana. I've also interviewed Dr. Afshin Salahuddin from Pakistan, teachers from around the globe. I've interviewed them. And if you're interested to share your story, like I've mentioned, you could check out Inspiring Educators. You could leave a feedback to any of the episodes that you would like. This is how it would look in public view. Okay? If you will be the one to check it through anchor.fm, this is how it will look. Okay? And if you listen to one of the episodes, for example, you wanted to listen to Teacher Brenda, okay, from Mauritius. So you would click it, okay, and you would listen to my introduction. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. So that is the ad, okay, that we usually put before the podcast. And if you will view it, okay, in for example, you would like or you've accessed it, these are the buttons that you will see. Listen on Spotify and message. Okay? So you could leave a message on the episode that you've enjoyed, any feedbacks. Okay? And also, I have another podcast that I contribute or not actually contribute, dedicated, okay, for students. So let me log it in so that you can also see. Because you might ask me, Teacher Brian, those are only for teachers. You said you're also using it for students. Yes, I have. I interview students. Okay. So allow me to log it in. And I think I still have enough time. Okay. This is real quick. We're almost done, dear viewers. Okay. So this is the other podcast that I'm pertaining with that is solely dedicated for students. And this is entitled Movie Cast. Okay? Movies that makes you. Okay? So I have if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 seasons. But as you might see here, I've interviewed as well different students, okay, from the Philippines, from Panama, from Brazil, and then here, okay, I've also interviewed wonderful students from Armenia. They really love movies and they have wonderful movie recommendations. Just like the most recent, okay, Buse Oskan from Turkey. I've interviewed her. And her best movie of all time is the movie entitled Roma. Okay, so you could check out this 2018 film. Okay, it's a really great movie. Okay, what I usually do after they've shared their best movie of all time is that I checked out the movie itself. So this is one of the way, once again, dear teachers, of me maximizing the capabilities of my students. And thanks to podcasting, I was able to maximize the technology. Because at first I thought that I could only use it in teaching, through presentations, but I was wrong. Okay, podcasting helped me become more informative to my students, more creative together with my co-teachers, and a better person because with the inspiring educators, I learn new things from different teachers. With MovieCast, I learn that watching movie can also build us emotionally and spiritually. And with that, I would like to once again thank the International Internship University for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge, okay, about podcasting. And also, I would like to thank teacher Karina for giving me this opportunity to once again share my two podcasts, okay, to Mr. Pandey, okay, for creating IIU, and to all the persons behind IIU. Thank you very much. It was a lovely presentation once again.